What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Miyazaki Man Podcast. After a long, hard day of work, you just want to kick back, relax, and talk about anime figurines, reviews, upcoming pre-orders, anime news, all that good weeb stuff, right? If you can find a chill, relaxing guy that you vibe with, even better. And luckily for you guys, I found just the man. ZUCCO joins me today for the Miyazaki Man Podcast, one of the most easygoing, authentic, genuine guys you can find. Make sure you subscribe to his channel in the description below if you haven't already, and check out his stuff, especially his newest video, the anime figurines of 2023 coming up. He even gave a shout out to this episode. Good man. Without further ado, let's get into it, and we're going to be talking about hot topics such as why some figures retain their value, why some figures bargain bin, big events in the figure space, how he got into YouTube, how he ended up doing a lot of figure related news episodes as well. And I did say we're good friends, right? I've literally got some massive discounts from my buddy ZUCCO from Mercari. Ordered 2 goods for him. Coming your way soon, my friend. If any of you want to benefit from the personal shopping proxy service of the Miyazaki Man, get in touch. Properly package, I'll store your goods for you. I'll procure and buy your goods for you. I'm always on the hunt for grails. Now to get bargains, right? Especially Vietnamese negotiating skills. Come on, what do you see? Goods on their way to you soon, my friend. Life in Japan with the Miyazaki Man.
Let's go!
Podcast edition. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Miyazaki Man Podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by my guest today, ZUCCO. How are you doing, my man?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah,
My
very
name's
good.
ZUCCO. I don't know if I should introduce myself.
Please do.
I guess I can. Yeah, I'm one of the newbies as far as making anime figure videos go on YouTube. I started in February, I think, so my year anniversary is coming up. And I don't know, I seem to have just started doing news, which is not what I was planning to do, but seems like people enjoy watching news on anime figures, so that's been my like niche for a little bit. But I do a little bit of, unboxings, reviews, all that stuff. And yeah, we'll talk more about other things later, but that's my intro.
Absolutely, no, it's brilliant. Thank you very much for the intro, ZUCCO. And I think what we really have in common is we started around the same kind of time. I think I started my very first video December last year, so just coming up to a kind of 1 year anniversary as well. And it's really interesting how like you kind of have your vision and your plan. You've seen other kind of anime YouTubers and people who do unboxings, unveilings, and kind of anime reviews, and you kind of have an idea of how you're going to start your channel. But then when it evolves over time, you kind of fall into a pattern of things you like to do, things your audience likes to see. So when you first started your channel, what did you have in mind for the ZUCCO channel?
Well, the very first video I made was a review. I kind of structured it, like I used to actually make video game reviews. They're not very good, but like back in the day, I had like, my little scripts I would write for video games, and I kind of structured it exactly like that, like all scripted, a couple of jokes here and there, and I really tried to like break down every single little thing. And that's kind of what I wanted to just like evolve on, just getting better at that. And I definitely have gotten better at reviewing figures, but I gotta admit, I haven't had like the time to review a lot of the figures, just because like right now we're filming this right after One Hobby and Mega Expo.
Yes.
And I've just been making these like really long videos covering the events because I just like talking about them. And I mean, they do good. Like if people want to watch them, then I'm happy to make them. But when something is that long, I gotta make time for it, you know what I mean? So I'm just sitting on like so many figures that I haven't gotten around to. But I guess to roll back a little bit, figure reviews are something I wanted to do, but I always wanted to like make a step towards doing like scripted videos towards like topics in the hobby, like just like weird things that people wouldn't like normally talk about, or not even weird, but just like making a nicely structured video about like why do you get into collecting, what makes it special to you, or something off topic or weird, like why do you care so much about a box, and then talk about like why this box is so important, or like why do you care if it gets damaged and things like that. So I just wanted to like try and do things that people weren't doing, but I haven't been doing a great job at that. I've just been doing
I don't know,
news,
man.
so.
People are interacting, people are viewing. It's doing good, man.
Yeah.
I'm liking what I'm seeing, and especially in regards to really interesting things you mentioned to me. So you mentioned the scripting part of videos. So I'm been completely fascinated by that, because that's something I've yet to do. It's more of a time implication for me. I just don't have the time, because I know you really need the attention to detail. You need to make the kind of setup, the kind of build and lead in, retaining the audience and that kind of thing. I'm very much improvisation, do things on the spot, go with the flow, mainly because of time implications. But tell me about the kind of scripting process. So do you do what you would expect to see, what you would expect to enjoy if you were to watch a video, or do you have a particular audience in mind that you cater it for, or what's your kind of approach?
It's really just like what I think is good. Obviously, I write it assuming people will enjoy it, but I can't cater to everybody, so I just have to focus on what I think makes a decent script.
Sure.
And when you're just talking about, like, you know, a figure review, it can't really go super far unless you want to get really creative with it. Because I've thought about it, and I think at first it's hard to, like, do anything too crazy. Because let's say I review, like, a Nendoroid.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the figure itself, but if I go on some, like, crazy weird tangent about, like, the show or some jokes, I'm going to start losing people who only care about the product.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird balance you got to find. So I mean, I'm not even like the funniest person ever, but I think if you can inject humor, that's like a really strong factor in making people enjoy like the scripted stuff. But
Sure.
right now I'm just kind of, it's really just me gathering my thoughts because I'm kind of a scatterbrain a little bit. I talk a lot, and when I put myself in front of a camera like this and I try and just describe something, I do a really bad job. I'm just like constantly falling over my own words. So just writing it down and having it in front of me makes it way easier to just get it out there and make it so that I'm not wasting people's time.
I think it's a beautiful kind of thing though, because when you're on the spot and you're talking about your kind of process, you kind of see things from a different perspective. You're kind of like, how do I really do it? What kind of thought process do I put behind it? And then when you're explaining it in words, you can kind of hear it at an audio kind of level, so it reiterates whether, you know, justifying the way you're doing things is correct, or you kind of discover things about your process. And when you mention, you know, you're mumbling your words and anything, I don't see that at all. You're explaining it crystal clear to me. You have a clear process of how you're approaching it. For example, on the kind of expos, you cover a huge amount of content, a huge amount of figures, a huge amount of news. Like, that must be a lot of information to kind of assimilate at the same time, including a video to plan it through, to script it out. That's a big commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I've gotten better at hiding when it's scripted and when it's not. Like, in the one hobby video that's already out right now, sorry, my voice is going, half of it's, like, scripted. Well, actually, not half of it, because a lot of it was, like, Nendoroids, and there's only so much you could say about a Nendoroid being cute and having good accessories or whatever, but, like, anything like that, I just go off my head. But when it comes to, like, the bigger sculpts, the more interesting figures, I feel like I'm just not very good at looking at it for like a minute and being like, oh, here's everything that I like about it. I have to just like write it down and then take it from there. And I'm really jealous of people who can just really articulate exactly how they feel, but and just like get that information out immediately. But I legit right now need to do that to make sure my videos don't just go off on some like really long-winded tangent like I'm doing right now. But yeah, I've gotten pretty good at hiding it. I feel like you won't necessarily know, because I'm also trying to like look at the camera every now and then when I'm reading the scripts. So I don't know. I feel like that's a small talent I'm learning to develop as I make these videos.
That's really, really cool. I like the fact that you said that, because especially the thing around looking at the camera. So my setup is rather awkward. So I've got my webcam in the top left here, and I've got a laptop and two screens, one above and one to the right. And this is my YouTube station. And on the right, I've got another 2 or 3 monitors, which is my like workstation. And people have actually commented, like, when you're looking away, try not to look at the script and whatnot. And I just retort back, I actually have no script. I'm just fidgety. I like to move around. I'm a bit dopey like that, so I just kind of move around. But actually, yeah, it's literally, I need to remember that the camera's over here, the mic's over there. And it is a case, like, when you're filming and you're live on camera, you have to remember so many things. Your intonation, your expression, the way you're delivering it, the actual content you're saying. Like, how many times would you need to retake a particular section or segment that you were really, like, fascinated by, and you really wanted to deliver pitch perfect? It was the most important part of your video. How many times would you redo that or post-production edit it?
Well, I haven't been doing post-production too much lately. I feel like you need to do it right the first time. Otherwise, like, it's not going to sound right. You know what I mean? Like, this microphone is really sensitive. If I like back up a little bit, I'm going to start sounding different. So,
I felt that. I did.
Yeah, it's just super sensitive. I actually don't like it for videos, but it's like a radio kind of microphone. But anyway, I kind of forgot what I was going to say. How many times I have to do it? I don't try and do it too many times, because it's I've only been doing these like news videos lately, if it was like a review or an unboxing, I feel like I would put more effort into like getting the perfect take. But because the monitor's here and the camera's here, it's not like that big of a shift between when I'm looking at the script and when I'm looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And because I'm looking at the figure, I can kind of just look at the script while moving my mouse and like looking, like I can look at both at the same time and then look at the camera when I like have what I want to say in my head.
Yes.
So it's kind of cheating for these kind of things. But when I make more, I don't know, highly produced videos, that's when I'll have to really try and memorize most of this stuff. But I get away with a decent amount doing it this way.
Absolutely, no, the quality does shine through for sure. And in terms of these kind of reviews of these big events, do you have aspirations to actually go in person, do a kind of vlog of these events and review them in person, or even
that would be really
cool.
Live casting? I never thought about that, but that would be sick. Of course, it's all in Japan, and it would be hard to like actually schedule something like that. But yeah, I would love to do that one day for sure. But I gotta admit, never thought about that. But yeah, maybe. I'd be down. I don't have a nice camera though, so I need a nice camera before I do that.
It's all good. I got you covered. So when I don't have it right here, literally here, I think it's being sent over from the UK. But when you do come in person, you tell me which event. We'll grab tickets together. We'll get some lunch. We'll go out and about. I'll bring the camera. You go with an empty suitcase. You bring the stuff back. You know, you go and enjoy it. We'll film the clips, and we can have a running dialogue of Wonder Festival or something nice. I love the garage kit scene, by the way. That's something I didn't know really existed until I moved to Japan. The kind of garage kit rare finds and the kind of exclusive that you can see in person here blows my mind. You never see the stuff on my figure collection.
Yeah, I mean, people just, they like it, but I feel like for me, there's not much reason to cover it because it's stuff that people can't get. You know what I mean? So it's like, why show you this thing that's almost unobtainable? It's obtainable if you go out of your way, but like to the everyday man, it's very difficult, and it just makes you kind of sad when you can't get them. Like seriously, there's some stuff out there that I wish I knew about, and then like you find it, and it's like thousands of dollars or whatever because they made a couple of them, and they're never gonna make them again. It's a big bummer.
Yeah. And that's like, I guess, the balance then. So let's say, for example, you were an absolute die-hard fan of a particular character. You tried to collect all their PVCs, their Nendoroids, even their resins and whatnot. A 1-1 scale exists. You have one shot to get it. Would you sacrifice like half your collection to get that one massive weeby?
1-1 scale? I don't even know where I'd put it. But honestly, if I could sacrifice, I'd probably do it. Honestly, I would, just because like
that's what I wanted to hear.
You could buy everything else again, but like and then you sell the stuff, you buy what you really want that no one else is going to have, and you have this really special thing in your collection. Yeah, I'd do it. I would absolutely do it.
I think so. I think that's the honest answer, because actually the second part of that comment was really good. When you know that other things, you could obtain them again if you really wanted them in the future, and you can always make more money doing stuff, you know, time goes by. But that one chance, that one shot to get that absolute treasure, that grail, and it'll be massive. It'll literally be sitting behind you on the camera every time.
Yeah, people love those big set pieces, so that would just be like the ultimate set piece in your background on a video.
I know, how kick-ass would that be? Yeah. Actually, speaking of which, I am exclusive. I'm going to do a little YouTube collab, and you're going to be in it as well, in terms of, I need to tidy up this mess, because literally, I put no thought into where anything goes. I just try to store things so that they don't fall down, and I have space to get more boxes, and I did show you my office secretly.
Yeah. I mean, my background's not much better either, but I'm in between like a move. Like I need to move soon, so I don't want to make it super nice or anything. It'd just be a waste of time. But sorry I cut you off. Go on.
No, it's good. It's good. We might as well jump to it now. So if you had one key piece of advice, so you see the clutter here, right? There's a lot of quality figures and real like good stuff behind me. It's just not organized in any coherent or logical way. What would be the one thing that would improve this so much? Would you, for example, put similar size scales together, the series together? Would you focus more on accessorizing it with the kind of lights and the focus on the kind of accessory side of it? You know, the faux fur. What would be the one thing that would really make a big impact to the backdrop when I'm filming these podcasts?
That's tough. I mean, I think when like you first think of that, like series together makes sense. But like if the scales are all off, I think that looks really strange. I think scales together, like 1/4's got to be with 1/4, because if you put a 1/8 next to it, it's gonna look off completely. It's gonna make that 1/8 figure look really tiny and like not special anymore. So it takes away from like, if that figure's really pretty, but something's towering it, then I don't know, like if anyone came to look at your collection, they're not even going to probably bat an eye at it. They're going to look at
the
your big
attention
bunnies and
dips.
whatnot. So
Yeah.
I think 1/4, all your scales need to be like aligned with each other in the right, I guess, size. And I do like color coordination. I think that's a good idea. I don't have that right now, but I would love, like, back in my other house, I used to have, like, all the purple figures together, all the yellow ones, and I just think it really looks nice on a shelf.
It does. It pops.
As
It
long
does,
as, like,
doesn't it? You got the theme.
again, the sizes aren't too off.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. And in terms of kind of displaying for the public as well, so I can see just behind you, you've got a very stylish waifu collection, but I would say that they're more cool, they're more badass ones. They're not particularly, ero or lewd. So do you shift into that side of figure collecting as well, or have you not broken down that door yet?
I actually literally just did. It's funny. So I used to never really buy any of that stuff. I've been in a relationship for a long time, and she collects as well. And I kind of just assumed
Sweet.
she would hate that stuff. But like a year ago, she liked a figure called Stella from Max Factory. The one,
Oh yes.
it's like a devil girl, and she's wearing
Yeah,
like
yeah,
some kind of trendy outfit that's a bit skimpy and whatever. And she really liked it, even though she's like kind of not wearing that much. I'm like, huh. If she doesn't mind this, and she also bought the follow-up figure Lufia,
Oh
which I
yeah,
reviewed on
yeah.
my channel.
I know those two.
Then I'm eventually gonna get something. I haven't opened any of it, but I actually have some of it over there. If you want me to grab it,
Grab it. You do,
yeah,
please do.
I'll-
Let's have a look. You're talking my language, my man.
All right. Well, I only have two right now. This one, it's not a plus 18 figure, but it's definitely starting to push it towards like getting a
Oh,
little
yeah,
inappropriate. The Grim Aloe
Malloy, yeah.
Bomber Girl. This series is just nothing but degeneracy. I don't know if that's on camera or not. It's just
I
like a
can see, yeah,
cheerleader
yeah.
succubus, and you can
Sweet.
see certain things if you look hard enough. And then there's
And
this
I'm
one.
sure we do look hard enough because it's all about the close up of the detailing, right?
Yeah, it's a really nice looking figure though from the reviews I've seen, but I've yet to like unbox it on the channel. And then the other one is Lena Bell by Michihasu. I don't know if that's too reflective on the camera.
No, I can
But,
see. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, pretty busty. And if you look in there, there's like a second chest that you can put on if you want with nipples and whatnot. But I don't know how I would display that in this room right now. But yeah, it's the first venture into that because that's an actual plus 18. The other one's just kind of like risque. But yeah, I don't really collect too many figures like that, and I don't really plan to, even though I like them, because most of the time I'm collecting based off of like things that mean something to me, and as much as I can appreciate these, just like the games and the anime that like shaped me or left an impression on me are really what I like to display overall. Just make exceptions here and there, but that's like 90% of the collection is that. And I don't feel like I have a lot of that represented behind me, but because I decided when I got into this house, I started putting figures on the shelves. I'm like, I might as well just unbox the figures and then put them behind me so that people can see it kind of evolve a little bit. But I've been so slow at unboxing these things that I haven't put anything on the shelf in a while. So that's the plan. And I'll probably cycle them out because I only have the 3D tops right now and the bookshelf behind me, but yeah, I don't know. It's just that's the way I like to collect. Not that it's the right way or anything. Of course, everybody has their own way of collecting, but that's kept me also like not spending as much as I would if I just bought anything that's pretty or sexy or whatever. Because there's a lot of nice things out there, but you can't have it all. So you got to really
Yeah, it does get a bit unwieldy. And actually, there's three interesting points that I'll pick apart there. So one of them is in terms of because you are a YouTuber who does unboxings, unveilings, and reviews as well. How much of the purchasing habits over time have evolved into what would people like to see? What are popular figures? What would attract views? As opposed to the ones that actually, have the huge sentiment and you can't wait to get them in your door and unbox them.
I'm trying to think because like I don't think I've really changed too much in like what I buy, but I've certainly bought more. I've absolutely bought more since making the channel because it just feels like you gotta. Even though I legitimately started doing the news things and like the recaps of all the pre-orders and stuff like that out of a necessity of wanting to make videos without having to spend hundreds of dollars every month. You know what I mean? Because it's just a really costly hobby, but I want to talk about these things. So this was like a way to do it without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
Let me just look at my like figure pre-orders really quickly.
Yeah. No, please do.
the Hokusai I did a review on. That's actually not my figure. It's my girlfriend's again.
Okay.
She just liked that figure. She didn't buy it for any other reason besides liking it, but that just felt like a figure that would be pretty good for the channel. Like people would want to see that one because it was a pretty big release. So
very creative as well. Very creative figure
from her.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, one of the only figures that I think would be kind of just like, I bought this because she's kind of hot and maybe people would like it, was Honolulu from Azure Lane. That one looks great. I mean, I don't have any other Azure Lane figures. I am planning to get the Bremerton that Alter recently showed where she's in the Chinese dress, but there's that one, and then, like, I don't know, I have a Ryza, but I just like Ryza. Everybody likes Ryza because thick and all that, but I don't know.
She's a dangerous character because, like, I'm falling into the trap now where I buy some of the figures because they look beautiful, amazing figures I want to have in my collection, but I've never played the game before. It's going to be in reverse, that because I've got the figure, it's tempting me to play the game. So rather than the attachment at the beginning, it's sending me towards those series, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I haven't played them either. I bought them both. I have both the games on the Switch. I just, you know, I mean, they're long RPGs. Actually, I don't know if they're that long, but they are JRPGs, and you got to invest the time. And I don't want to, like, half-ass play them. I want to, like, enjoy them. And you got to sit down with those kind of games. So but I only have one. I only have the one Ryza, and it's actually coming out in a couple days. It's the one where she's like sitting down with, like, a bird perched on her shoulder by Max.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
That one looks great.
It does. It looks really, really nice. I haven't actually dived into the Ryzas yet.
Like, every Ryza figure really does look very good, though. I can't think of a bad one. They've done, like, a really good job with this character design.
She's thick and juicy in all the right places, and she appears really nice as well. And they're milking it. They're milking it at the moment for Ryzas. Yeah.
I mean, the other games, like Sophie's out now, that new game, and they're still making Ryza. The funny thing, I thought it was really funny when they made a 25th anniversary for the series, and it's just Ryza. It's just a Ryza figure. And it's got, like, some fun things in the background, but there's no other characters, and it's just her. It's like, well, I mean, I guess she is, like, the face of the series at this point, but it doesn't feel like a celebration anymore. It just feels like a big Ryza figure.
And not the series. Yeah, I mean, she is the kind of figurehead, isn't she? So.
That's about it. As far as, like, catering to the audience in terms of unboxings, I don't feel like I've done that too much. Like, I have an Uma Musume girl. I don't think many people care too much about horse girls in America. I have a bomber girl, Pine. Again, that's a series that's kind of locked in Japan, and it's cute. I like the character a lot, but I don't think if I did a review on it, anyone would care. I just bought it because I liked it. There's a BB by Alter, the Moon Cancer Koakuma.
Oh, the fake thing.
It's a long name. Yeah, it's the one with, like, the giant wings or whatever, and the hair is, like, enormous, and she's on some tentacles. That is probably something that a lot of people would like on the channel. But I just bought it because I like vampire aesthetics and all that, so it's like, that'll do good on the channel. People will like it, but it's also a really nice character design, and I do like Fate a little bit, so I might as well spend a little bit of money on something that looks pretty grand.
It's true. That is quite a evocative piece in terms of drawing your eye to it, because there's so much going on. She's big as well, and there's so much going on
really
there.
Big. I don't want to know the shipping cost. I really don't. Right now, the yen is also getting stronger against the dollar, so I'm like real scared about the future of how much these things are going to cost. But I'll worry about that later.
Yeah. Especially, I'm assuming it's from Ami, so it's buy now, pay later.
It's the exclusive one, because they made two. One with, like, the darker skin complexion and one with the lighter skin complexion. I don't know why they make the lighter one an exclusive. And they also gave her, like, a cute face where she's kind of sticking her tongue up, like something's tasty or something. And I'm like, that one's a little cuter. I wish that face was on the tanned body, because that would have been the perfect figure. But they had to make it so, like, there's selling points for each one.
Make the choice. I mean? Yeah. Split between the two.
It's annoying, but
hard place.
I couldn't buy both. That'd be way too expensive.
I hear you. And no, I completely agree, actually. In terms of buying the figures, I'm glad you stuck to your principles and just buy the ones you like. Don't fall into the peer pressure of social media and whatnot. But the good thing is, really, I think even those lesser known characters and lesser known series, you buy them because you have the attachment and you like the figure, and you are bringing them to kind of mainstream audiences. So eventually that series might get popular, the character might get popular, that people become aware of those figures, because the mainstream ones and the popular ones like Ryza, everyone knows them, right? And everyone's aware of them. Whereas the more niche ones, they might have a really beautiful figure, but they're being slept on and they might still be available at a good price, and you expose it to the world. I think people are fascinated by that because it's a big community and there's lots of interest, isn't it? Yeah.
I will say, because I've been collecting for a while, there was like a long period of time, I want to say from like maybe like 2017 to 20, where I just felt like I wasn't buying anything. Because for a while, I feel like there just wasn't anything coming out for me. And I just kind of collected other things like video games in the meantime because I didn't want to spend the money for the sake of spending the money. And it's just like there was nothing for me. But I feel like there's been like more hype shows and more video games that I like or getting figures that I can really appreciate. So it just feels like, also, I think way more figures are coming out lately. Like, more companies are being just kind of like popping out of nowhere.
Yes.
And like good smile companies not stopping their production. They're making so many freaking figures. Yeah. It's just nuts. Trying to keep up with all this stuff is nuts. But I guess it's good as a consumer if you can control yourself and find exactly what you want.
Yeah, so you got the options there. It's painful for the wallet. I think, hopefully, the existence of more established figure creation companies allows the quality to maintain a high standard and the prices to not increase to extortionate levels. And I completely agree with what you said in regards to like the you need to satisfy yourself sometimes, and when the figures that you want aren't there, and unfortunately I'm in the most dangerous place of all in Japan, you just pick up random stuff. So Arknights games, I've been just picking up these little ACG cards. I'm not a card collector, and I've just started picking up these things because I thought, wow, they're really cute, they take no space, I can put them all in a folder, and really, really cool. So I've just started picking these up left, right and centre, like My Life as a Slime, Mirim, and that kind of thing, and I don't know where it ends really.
Yeah, no, I do the same. I've really tried to limit myself to, because if I had like way more money and I lived in a place like you did, I just would be nonstop buying stuff. But like I used to collect art books. I like art books a lot, but I haven't bought them in a while. I also like music CDs and stuff like that. I don't have like a record player, so I don't buy vinyl. But I've really just kept it to like anime figures and retro video games. I love collecting video games and I love collecting anime figures. I don't talk about retro video games because I feel like the audiences are very different. And there's a bit of expectations from retro video games because it's a really established scene, like on YouTube, very big compared to anime figures. And I feel like it might as well just keep pushing on anime figures because it needs to grow. More videos need to be made on it. More people should jump into making anime figure videos. One day, I would like to talk about video games again, but outside of just like mentioning them here and there, I kind of just, I don't know. I don't need to like bring it to YouTube right now, but it is a passion of mine, even if I don't talk about it.
An aspiration for sure. I think there's two parts there. So first of all, I think in terms of weeb content creators and people who do anime figures and unboxings, I've been surprised. Like YouTube has really recommended maybe 15 or 20 new names that I never heard before, relatively new channels. Some are succeeding more than others, but there are people who are popping up, you've never heard the names before, and they're trying to make these content, in terms of the establishing themselves in the weeb community and making things that people would enjoy, and power to them. The weeb community is growing massively. Even celebrities are getting into the kind of Halloween costumes for cosplay and exposing some of the more classical series, and I really feel that the more content creators and more people in it will just overall bring mainstream attention and appeal to the whole kind of fandom as a whole, because the figures, they're making loads of money, so they won't go away. Art books have been the kind of precursor to the figures being created. Then you've got stuff like the music boxes, the war scrolls, acrylic stands, keychains. They are absolutely milking every single product, and I'm all for it. The more choice is better for me.
Yeah, I agree. Like the whole like otaku anime weeb thing is always going to be growing. I do fear that anime figures will remain niche if the companies don't find a way to keep the prices reasonable, because you always see people be like, I can't keep up anymore. I got to sell. I don't get that. People like will sell all their collection because they can't keep up anymore. And I understand not wanting to keep buying figures, but it makes me sad when people are just like, I'm done. Get rid of all my stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, why not keep some of them? You bought them because you like them. It's almost like giving up, but it shouldn't be like a competition. You should just buy these things because you love them. But I do hope it keeps growing. I mean, anime's huge. Honestly, anime really is huge. But I think these companies, they're trying with like pop-up parades and Nendoroids, trying to keep them a little cheaper. Scales are always going to be hard to approach, but I mean, those really are the high-end things, because like big statues have always existed, and people know that. Those always like Prime 1, First for Figures.
yeah.
These are these giant resin statues or whatever. And those are like always like, those are too expensive. But the anime figure was like, for a long time, it was just like anybody can get into it.
Sure.
Like back in 2011, when I first started, like figures were like $80 for like the nice ones. The Ultimate Gattaca, I remember that came out. That was like a 14,000 yen figure, I remember. And Ami Ami did like a half off shipping, which is just like, they've never done that. It's such a big figure, and they wanted it to sell that they offered like discount shipping to make sure that people would buy from Ami Ami. And that was like the biggest figure ever at the time. And it still is a really popular figure, even though it has some problems. Like mine's broken because it's too heavy, but it was, it's like one of the few figures that have broken over time, but
Did you repair it? Glue it back
not
on?
yet. I do want to, but I need to like make sure I do it right. It just basically like the dress is a peg and it's the only thing that supports it. And it was so like heavy that it just leaned over time and it broke. But yeah, man, you could just buy like all these really nice things back in the day for like 90, like 100 something dollars was like, that's high. I can't do it anymore. I remember, I'm kind of talking like a boomer now, but I remember the day when Ami Ami got the pre-owned section, because that wasn't there immediately when I like first saw the site. And me and my buddy, who was like the only person I talked to about figure collecting at the time, we just saw that the Yoko, the bounty hunter Yoko with the gun behind her head, it just went up for like $150 or something, which is like a steal. Maybe not back then, but right now that's a huge steal. It was probably like good condition too. And we're like, man, this is a nice figure. We should buy this. And neither of us bought it. It's just like, because we didn't really know. The used figure market scene was so new. And we just kind of took it for granted. Like, oh, another one will show up. We didn't buy that one. Another one will show up. And then, of course, next time it's 20,000 yen. And it's just like, well,
that figure goes for expensive now. That bounty hunter Yoko Ultra,
people
that's
sell
like
it for like a couple hundred, 400, something like that, 500. It's,
you know what? You're right. It's funny that you mentioned that particular one because I've been smirking on the corner here because I've been checking Saluga damaged, no box, B rank section like every day, right, for the past year. Not particularly looking for that one, just for any treasures that I can find because I love my used and no box for the value of it, especially in Japan. And that came up, and it said something like no box but perfect condition. It was like 18, 19, maybe 22 with shipping. And
good deal.
I straight away bought it, and I was going to go on my figure collection, and I was going to proclaim, finally, Yoko Ultra Bounty Hunter, yes! And then the first comment I saw on there, the latest one, was, I found this no box Yoko figure. Is this a good deal? So someone was waiting for someone to give them affirmation that was a good deal.
You sniped them.
And then I sniped them before I checked. Although, technically I did snipe them, but I went before.
I know, but like in their heart.
I know. I had to tone down my thing. I was like, oh yeah, I might have bought that one. I was really looking forward to it. I'm the biggest Yoko fan. I got it. Hell of a good collection. And then the very next comment was, that price, man, that's the best deal I've ever seen in a century, in a decade. And then I was like, a bit smug, but bit,
If that was me, I wouldn't have the balls to be like, yep, I bought that. I couldn't have done that. I would have felt so bad.
Yeah, I know. And I haven't unboxed it yet because
there's no box.
No, exactly. I haven't unveiled it. Sorry, you're completely right. I'm glad you're listening. So I haven't unveiled it yet because my backlog to showcase stuff is. First of all, I've got no space, so I have to maintain them in boxes. I'm planning to build a house next year in Miyazaki, Japan, but at the same time, I've already filmed so many unboxings, unveilings, and reviews that I just don't have the time to catch up on the editing. So I think I would have content now for roughly, I want to say 47 or 48 videos, and it's just about prioritizing. Yeah.
I have none. I have nothing prepared. I have like a little script for one of my videos. It's like one page. It's like, well... Yeah. I got started on it. That's some progress, but that's it. That's nuts.
Man, I do envy that in a way because I bought a dedicated server where I'm just basically trying to shoot life in Japan. So the initial thought of the channel was to capture slice of life in Japan, succeeding. Yay! Finally moved to Japan. What's available? What food is available? What shopping? Daily life kind of thing. And then obviously anime and manga and goodies is part of that. And I just found with the two kids, I don't have the time to do the slice of life stuff, the vlog. So with the anime stuff, it was much easier. And I filmed it all in batch, the unveilings, unboxings. So a lot of it is older footage. But I shunted that onto the server with a lot of the kind of 4K videos of my kids and daily life. And now I've got about 4 terabytes, 4.5 terabytes of unassorted stuff that one day I'm going to have to go in there to find the thing that I wanted to include in a
That's gonna be
video.
a nightmare. That's actually gonna be a nightmare.
It's difficult for sure. At least the meta tags I know in terms of dates, you can see the name of the date is the name, and it's slightly easier, but still, it's a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good to have it though, because I mean, filming it is fun at the time, but sometimes you don't want to do it. But having something ready to go feels good, because you just slide it over once you find it, start working on it, and then you don't have to worry about half the work. So good to get ahead of it at the very least.
That is very true. And I'm just looking at your collection at the moment. So there are some figures there that I've got the variants of them that I think are quite interesting. So you know that Muramasa Oborohime, the one on the sword on the rock?
That one. The camera's like reversed.
Yes.
At the point, awkwardly, figure it out.
No, good. You were right on it, just on the spot there. The I haven't seen that series, but I love the character designs. So there's
a video game.
Yeah.
It was a Wii game / Vita game. Vita game's better, but like, who has a Vita? I don't have a Vita, so I've never played the better one. Fantastic game though, like one of the best on the Wii or Vita if you play it.
The visuals look stunning. I saw the reviews, but it almost
any game by Vanillaware has gorgeous like just 2D art, and that was like one of the first ones I played from that company. So it was really cool to see that they made a figure of that.
It's cultural as well. It's a very cultural kind of game, isn't it? And that's the kind of thing, like in terms of culture, you might know where I'm leading with this, but there's 2 other characters of her, and
the
all set
Fox
in
Girls,
onsen.
I think. Oh, the onsen ones, right? There's a couple figures I always forget about in that series.
The hot springs, all 3 of them.
Yeah,
and I pulled trigger. I had to do it. I mean,
I don't blame you. I don't have those, but they're very pretty. Also, the other girls just in their like kimonos or something, whatever they're wearing, is very pretty as well from Alter.
Yeah. Green and orange.
Lantern.
Green and orange.
Yeah. I don't remember their names because they were like side characters a little bit. I haven't played that game in so long, but Alter made a bunch of really good figures for that series, and there's also the cat girl. She's like a demon cat.
Yeah.
Forget her name because that's in the Vita game, so I've never seen that character, but she's cool too. One day I would probably want that if I played the Vita game, so that's gonna be a bummer when that's like very expensive and I play the Vita game and I'm like, oh, I want that, but I gotta hunt for it now. But it's cool. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of figures like that. Can't have everything, right?
It's true, and that girl you got on the top there from Seiken Densetsu. So I've got the Collection of Mana series on Switch, but I haven't played it yet. And I really said I was going to start Seiken Densetsu 3 as soon as it came out, but it's on the backlog. I just haven't had time for it. Have you played it?
Yeah, I've beaten it. I've actually I've beaten the first 3, right? Like, because the collection has the first 3. Yes. I never played the original 3 because they remade it by the time I was gonna play it because it was never translated in America until we got the collection and the remake. Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun. It's not like the most high production game. It's like a B tier Square Enix RPG, which is almost like its own genre at this point because they have like the big stuff like Final Fantasies and all that, and then they do some side projects where they're putting a little bit of money. But it's a good game. It has very goofy English voice acting, but the Japanese voice acting is really great. And it's a fun beat 'em up. Well, not a beat 'em up. It's just a fun like action RPG. You get to switch between your characters and stuff like that. You pick the character, you go through their story. So there's like 6 different stories to experience with some different paths and all that. Funny enough, I like the first game that was on the Game Boy more than Secret of Mana. I don't know why. I just think that the original one, it's really charming. I think they did a great job with it. There's a little bit of goofiness in terms of like, they could have thought about this better, like the items, how you have to swap between weapons to make progression and things like that. Like, it doesn't really make sense sometimes, and you can just like get screwed over if you do something wrong. But it's a really charming game with some great music for the time. But yeah, I do recommend it. It's not a must play if I had to be honest, but it is a solid like 7 or 8 out of 10. It's good. It's solid. That's a good opinion of it. That figure is really nice.
This was your plug. This was your plug for the your retro game series. Then
that wasn't a great review. I will say that figure has bargain bin so hard that I really regret picking it up like day one because you can get it for like 10,000 yen now, and it was like 17,000 at the time. So I'm like, well, I'm an idiot. I should have known. I really should have known. But they're making Angela, the other like big popular girl from that series, into a figure. It's not out yet, and I'm just like, do I pre-order this? Because I like her way more than Ria's over there. But if it bargain bins again, I'm going to feel like a real idiot. So I think I just have to play the gamble. They like Square Enix figures for some reason like always bargain bin, and I don't want to do it again. I might as well try and save money. I'll like keep my eye out. If things go out of stock on a lot of stores, I'll hit the pre-order. But if they're in stock everywhere, like she was,
Yes.
I'll risk it. I think it's
It's a red
worth
flag.
risking.
It's a red flag for sure if they're in pre-orders, and that's an interesting one as well because you know about the Fire Emblem figures as well, like Lynn, right? So
Yes, I have Lynn, and she kind of
Yes.
bargain bin as well.
and
So,
that's the really horrendous thing. Like some of the figures are so beautiful and dynamic and amazingly well made, right? And the
yeah.
quality control is excellent. Why do you think they bargain bin?
I think they make too many. I think there's too many figures that like you can't sell enough of them to everybody, especially to like the Western audience now, because like while the yen is strong, the shipping just keeps going. Or sorry, not the yen is strong. The dollar's strong against the yen, but the shipping keeps going up. So whenever you encounter a big box, it's just so expensive. Like I shipped 3 figures a couple weeks ago. It was 12,000 yen, and it was like it was, who did I buy? I bought the Guts Pop-Up Parade, which had a huge box for some reason. I did not expect that figure to have a big box. I bought the Shootin' Doji, the one where she's in that Jiangxi figure with like long nails that I'm looking forward to buying, and a Corone Nendoroid. Like not even another figure. It was 2 figures on a Nendoroid, 12,000 yen. That's discouraging, and that's gonna make you cancel pre-orders. But I also think they just overproduced the hell out of the Fire Emblem one specifically.
Okay.
Like, because that they made Roy exclusive now,
Yes.
and Veronica, I think that's her name, the new girl that just went up.
Yes. Fire Emblem
She's
Heroes,
also
yeah.
exclusive, so they know. They're like, all right, we made too many Ikes, Marts, and Lins, and maybe Byleth. She's not out yet. We can't keep doing this. Like, clearly, people are just waiting on our stocks to just go down and buy them when they're low. But I mean, I don't blame them, right? Like making them exclusive sucks because now it's harder to get a deal on them. But there really are a lot of Lins and Marts and Ikes out there. Like I haven't bought Ike or Marth because I was waiting for a sale. I think I waited too long, but we'll see. Maybe one day I'll get them. But
I think you should. They complement each other really nicely. But actually, I'll probably do a little reveal in this episode. My favorite figure of every figure probably that I own at the moment is, I don't know if you know, Cordelia from Fire Emblem.
Oh, that's that like really expensive one from the 3DS game, right?
Yeah, the Pegasus, the red hair. She's got the lance.
Oh,
and the Pegasus
thinking of the other girl. What's the girl with the purple hair that's really expensive? I
Oh,
forgot.
Camilla.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I haven't played that game. I'm not the biggest Fire Emblem guy, but I have played a couple of them. Like I like Three Houses. I liked 7, which is why I bought Lynn. I want to play 8. Honestly, I haven't played a lot of Fire Emblem. I just didn't grow with
Me
it.
neither. Yeah.
But the ones on the GBA are cool. That's all I really played besides Three Houses. But I do want to play the one with Ike because I hear that one's like super good.
It's meant to be cool.
But yeah, when you don't play these games growing up, it's kind of hard to like suddenly get into it.
What about the new one? The new one coming out in January. Engage with Ketchup-kun.
I'll probably play it, but I gotta say I hate the character design of the main character.
That
a
blue
little
and red
cuter when
split.
you're a girl. It's a little more acceptable, but I think they got a little too funny with it. I think they wanted to make like a Nintendo Switch controller, like the Joy-Cons, the red and the blue one, into a character, and it's like I can't take this seriously. Like maybe it's got a beautiful story to it, but just from a surface level, I feel like they got a little goofy. But that's not like a good way to judge a game, of course. Just like from the meme standpoint, it's like this looks a little stupid, but we'll see. I'm sure it's great because the Three Houses was great, so I'm sure evolving on that will make it even better, right?
And that was really funny, actually, the evolution of the sentiment towards that game, because when they leaked the designs from a very early stage, everyone's like, this is a joke. They're just making fun of you. Why would they split the hair like that? That is totally awful. Source, that can't be a main character. That's a side character, surely. And then it became real, and it was like, they actually did it. The crazy betards actually did it. And then they released the gameplay and the music, and people were like, this actually looks quite
the gameplay,
good.
like the graphics look really good for the Switch. Like if you've seen Pokemon lately, people have been so mean about it. Like, oh, the Switch is just so weak at this point. But then like some nice looking games can come out for the Switch, and I think they're doing a pretty good job at making that Fire Emblem game look legit. Like Xenoblade, like that's a humongous game, and they got to lower the the resolution a little bit, but as far as graphics go, like as far as like the scope, that game is really impressive to be running some pretty outdated hardware at this point. But yeah, it's really just about like how you use the hardware and stuff like that. But yeah, Three Houses looked good outside of some texturing. They had some funky textures for like the floors and like some background elements, but the character models look good at the very least.
They
so
did, didn't they? Yeah, it's quite distinctive.
seems like they're really improving on it over time, which is what the company should do with these kind of outdated hardwares. Like once they learn how to work around it, they can really start to shine through with their art styles and whatnot.
Aren't they making like an upgraded Switch, like with better hardware?
I mean, there's always a rumor, but like, there's nothing confirmed yet. They made the OLED, but it's not better, or at the very least, they haven't done anything to show that it's better. It just has a nicer screen. I think it's a little bigger. I don't own one. I didn't feel like buying another Switch just for a nicer screen, but yeah, at the moment, nothing new. But the Switch is like 5 years old at this point. It came out in 2017, so I don't know if we're due soon. But it feels like they got to do something because, like, the Steam Deck is just a better Switch. Like, honestly, like, I don't have one. I would love to get one. I don't have an extra $500 right now, but that thing's impressive. Even though I feel like it's super bulky. It looks super bulky, like it's not going to be comfortable, but apparently it is. So
it's high end. It's high end. It looks really, really appealing. It looks expensive, and obviously, you know, the hardware in that, it's absolutely amazing. I just don't know where I'd find the time to really commit to it. You know, it's an investment of, as you say, $500.
It's like a mini computer at this point. Like, because you could do anything you can do on Steam, and you can put emulators on it. You can do the whole shebang. You could put Linux on it, probably. I think you could do whatever you want with it. It's pretty impressive. It really is just like a little computer from what it looks like. Again, I don't have it, but it's cool.
Yeah, and actually, now that you talk about the Steam Deck as well, I feel after collecting figures, somehow, especially for a lot of new figure collectors as well, right, it warps the sense of the value of money. So, for example, you start small, you start Pop-Up Parade, you get scale figures, you might get a 1/4 scale figure. Some people go from freeing to binding, which are expensive. Some people get resin statues and you get garage kits. And then you start to lose the value of money because if I was to say, I'm going to buy a gaming PC for £1,000, right? And whoa, that's a really expensive purchase. And you say, I'm going to get free modern bunnies on pre-order, or I'd get 2 statues.
Yeah, no, dude, totally. Like, I need a camera. Like, I want to buy a nice camera, like a DSLR or something. But it's like, oh, I don't have the money to spend. I don't have $1,000 whatever dollars. Meanwhile, in December, I have over 100,000 yen worth of pre-orders. Like, legitimately, that's like the most expensive month I've ever had. It's like, what am I doing? It's because, like, you feel like you're going to miss out. You can always buy a camera. You could always buy a PC. But the figures, you get caught up in the fear of missing out. And it gets to you. Like, it really does. Plus, just, like, the addictive nature of collecting in general. Like, you always want to build on it. Because, like you said, you start off small. Yeah. You start off small with a couple little things, but it's never like that. It's like, oh, I'll only buy a couple prize figures. And then, oh, you know, I'll get a scale for my birthday or something. And then it's like, well, I can only have one. She looks lonely now. So I need 2. And then you keep buying over and over again. It really does. It's a slippery slope. That's like the best term for it. You slip and fall, and that's, I think, why people sometimes just be like, I'm done. They don't want to do it anymore because they know it's dangerous. But
it's hammering them mentally, physically, financially.
You got to train yourself. You really got to train yourself. Like, as figure prices have gone up, I feel like I've still done a good job of like, that's too expensive. I will never buy that. And like, the limit now is like, I feel like it sucks, but like a $200 figure is like the average. It's like, it's a lot, but like every figure I buy is like $200 if it's a nice one, like give or take with shipping and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Once like $300 pops up for figures, like, I don't want to do it. Like, I just don't want to go near it, even though like it's becoming the average now. And I've missed out on some nice things by not just jumping on it. Like, back in the day, some biggest regrets not buying the Gecko, the company Gecko, Dark Souls figures. They had a couple of Dark Souls figures for around like $300.
Stylish, very stylish.
And back then, figures were like 100 to 150 or whatever. And like, these are big. They're like 1/6 scale. They're clearly, you know, they're big dudes, right? They're not like cute anime girls, so they're like pretty tall figures. And a couple of them are like $1,000 now. It's like, man, I'm so stupid. I should have just bought it. So one of the big figures I have next month is Sekiro. Like, the game, his name is Sekiro. Gecko's making it. It's been delayed so long, I think, because of the pandemic. But it's around 45,000 yen. And that thing is like going to be expensive to ship. So it's going to probably cost me somewhere between $400 to $500 after whatever conversion rate. And I'm just going to, whatever. Like, I'm buying that because Sekiro is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm a huge FromSoft fan. And because I regret so much not getting the Dark Souls figures, the
You know it'll be
Bloodborne
worth it.
figures, like, I gotta get it. I gotta get it. That game's wonderful. Like 10 out of 10, 12 out of 10, whatever. I think that game is that good. And I want that representation. It's
Sure.
not what I typically like. Most of these are girls, right? I do have a couple of boys over there, but I mean, they don't make a lot of boys, right? Unless you like spend a lot of money or you go to like Mega House and Kotobukiya. I feel like a lot of these, like the companies I like Alter or
Yes.
Amakuni, they don't make a lot of males. Like
They don't. No. They know their fandom. They know their base. Their core.
yeah, like Alter has Altair or however you pronounce it. They'll like slowly put up some male characters every now and then,
Yes.
but real rare, like really rare. And it's just like one of my favorite series I want to collect for is Dorohedoro, the manga. It has an anime on Netflix as well. One of the coolest anime / manga I've ever experienced. But
Oh, link
like,
me to it. I don't think I've seen that one. Link
No?
me for sure.
it's really good. It's like a dark but also comedic show about a guy who gets turned into like a lizard man. Like he's just basically like a big buff guy, but his head is a lizard.
Yeah.
And he's trying to find out who the hell turned him into this lizard. Dude.
Yeah.
So they live in this like horrid world. Everything's like disgusting and dirty. It's called Hole. That's like the city that they live in.
Yes.
And he's basically just going around like chopping up sorcerers. I think they're called sorcerers, not wizards, but the sorcerers that can do these magic spells with like the black powder dust or whatever
Sure.
it's called. Like the show starts off literally with him chomping on someone's head, and then a dude comes out of his like mouth, like he's chomping down, right? And the guy is in his mouth, and a guy will come out of Kaiman's head, the main character, and he'll say like, "You are the one," or "You're not the one," to determine if he's the one who transformed him into the lizard. And if he's not, he just fucking kills him. It's just, sorry if I curse. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. He just kills him, and he's like, "Well, it's not him. Let's go find someone else. Let's go eat some food." It's just like, it's so goofy of a show, but it gets like real serious. And the mystery of like what happened to this main character is so interesting. But on top of that, there's just every single character is beloved. Like all the villains are like not villains. It's weird because like they're so fun when they're hanging around each other. But against the main characters, they gotta scrap. They gotta get business done. And you just fall in love with them, but you also fall in love with the main characters. It's just this huge ensemble of lovable characters with this really dark art style, and they're like goofing off, but then it's like the goriest thing ever at the same time. Basically, just to say, I love that series, and the only figure I've ever seen from like one of the companies we're familiar with is Mega House. They made a figure of Kaiman. It's pretty good. A lot of people didn't like it. It had a different kind of art style where they made it gritty. I think it's very fitting. But people seem to think it was like kind of like lazily done. Like they kind of just brushed it off. Like I don't know, they did a bad job with it. I think it's cool. But then like other big companies like Figurama, they made a 1/8 scale, which was interesting. They don't make a lot of 1/8 scales, but they made a 1/8 scale of Kaiman and the girl Nikaido, like the main other character of the series that he's always around. And then Prime One made a huge figure of the two together.
The Prime One statues.
For like $3,000 or something. So I've been collecting instead, outside of the one figure I have, there's 3-0, a company that makes a lot of posables. They made a couple of characters. They made one for Kaiman, which I actually don't like. I think a lot of people do, but his figure only has like he has a, sorry if I'm talking too much, but he has a like a closed mouth expression, and then the same one where his like eyes are a little angry. Like he never opens his mouth, but he's like a lizard with his teeth, and it's like always seen with his mouth open. So I thought it was a really weird choice that they did that.
I see.
But basically, I'm talking too much. So I bought a couple of figures from them. They're posable. They're like dolls. They're like plastic with like fabric cloth for clothing. They're interesting and they look nice. And they're 1/6 scale, so they're like pretty big.
Quite appealing. And I just want to bring you back then to
sorry,
like...
I talked way too much.
No worries. It's all good. It's really interesting, fascinating stuff. I love how you're passionate about it so much to the extent that really you don't need no script. You can go for days, talking about this series. And that's what I really like, right? Because let's go back to that, talk about a 1/1 scale figure. If you sacrificed a couple of pre-orders, for example, to get that Prime 1 figure, wouldn't it all be worthwhile in the end? You said you'd set yourself a limit per figure of the costing.
I guess.
Do you take that back slightly? If you sacrifice some of the ones that are 9 out of 10 for that 11 out of 10 one.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, like, the space. Now that we're thinking about it more realistically, the space is an issue. But I don't know. There is something really, like, nice about having, like, such a big centerpiece in your collection. Man, selling everything that I like for the Kaiman and Nikaido figure. I'd have to probably think about it a little bit more. When you said it originally, I was thinking of my waifu. I was like, yeah, I probably have to, but oh man, I don't know. I just need a house.
I'll give you some lead into this. So space, right? Space being the biggest issue. Finance is the same. So I figured out, you know that Azure Lane, New Jersey, long blue hair on the pole, hugely expensive one.
Humongous figure.
Yes. She is the same as two other freeing bunnies, or free depending on which ones you look at it, whether the older ones. So if I wanted her, and I'm a complete simp for blue hair, pretty girl, pretty face. I loved blue hair. I don't know why, blue and green hair.
That's nice. Very nice.
Yeah, so pre-orders, you just press the cancel on 2 pre-orders. And
that's fair.
It's the same price as a New
fair.
Jersey blue. And you know, people on standalone is really expensive. My God, why would you do that for ring? It's so expensive. But cancel 2 pre-orders, it's the same price. And they're like,
yeah, no, if you care more about a figure, I think it's fine to cancel others. I was actually thinking of canceling one of my figures. I bought or pre-ordered. I think her name is Aqua from Hololive, the girl with like pink hair. She's in this like really nice dress. But I realized I kind of just bought that because it looked really cute. And I'm like, do I really need this? Not really, but I haven't canceled it yet just because I don't want to name the store, but I've never bought from them before, and I feel like I'm going to get in trouble if I cancel it, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. But yeah, just to cycle back, you know, when you talked about the 1-to-1 scale, that was something that I couldn't actually get, but with the Kaimen and Nikaido Prime 1...
they are available.
I got this is a DTOF, right? That figure would not fit in any of these. So like, where am I gonna put it? So this feels like that's the thing. Like, I can't buy a lot of big figures. Like, I could buy a few and find the space for them, but realistically, right now where I'm at, the space is a big issue. A lot of people can relate to just not having the space for figurines, but I don't know. I probably couldn't sell like half of my collection, but I could probably pick out like a nice like 1/4 of it. I'm like, I definitely don't need these. Like, they're fine, they're cute, I like them, but if I can really all trade them up to something really special, I'd probably do it. I probably would.
Yeah, and I think, like, over time, I feel growing attached to a few treasures and a few grails somehow has become more meaningful to me than the kind of volumes. Because characters are beautiful, figures are beautiful, you like a lot of series, inevitably you're going to like more and more series, but you get the real kind of centerpieces, and once you've got them in your collection, you will make the space to show off those things. And I do have 1 or 2 that I will actually, I'm going to tell you something as well. Did you ever play League of Legends?
No. That's like one of the few games that like I just never went to because everyone that I knew played it and like, don't play it. Just don't play it, bro.
It's a time sink. You're so lucky in that regard.
Like, all right, I won't play it.
It's good. You made the right choice. But just on that front, I stopped like 4 or 5 years ago. But having watched the World Tournament this year, there's a Kaiser 1/4 scale statue by, I can't remember who it's called, right? And this thing is usually going for like 100,000 yen. And then Amazon.co.jp, Black Friday sale, is up there for like 50,000 yen or something like that. I'm like, it doesn't go for 50,000 yen.
You gotta buy it.
It can't be legit. I thought it was a scam. There's no reviews.
Right.
It's sold by Amazon.co.jp, so it's literally Amazon themselves. So I was like, I'll take the punt, and let's have a look to see whether it's legit. And if it is, yes, because it also lights up. It's beautiful, and it lights up in the dark, and it looks really, really cool. But I don't know. Can it be too good to be true? Well, what do you think? It's half price, Black Friday sale, Amazon.co.jp, no reviews. This thing is meant to be sold out.
It's sold legitimately from Amazon, like it's not like a secondary seller or something like that.
Not secondary seller.
I think it's legit, man. I mean, they had some pretty good sales, including Lynn and the Ritas over there. Like they had a lot of stuff on Black Friday for good deals. I wanted to take advantage more of Black Friday, but the only thing I ordered, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. It was on Animate International. Okay. They had a thing where it's like if you spend $100. You'll get free shipping, and their shipping is very expensive. So it's like, well, okay. So there's a figure. It's from Fate. I never really looked at this figure outside of Ken. He reviewed it.
Love Ken, yeah.
The Okita Soji. It's like the girl with the gray hair holding the sword out and stuff like that. Yeah. Really cool looking figure, but I just didn't really know the character. But they had it for like $130 with free shipping. Now, shipping that to America is like $100 to $200 on its own, unless you do a boat. Yeah. So it's like... pretty good deal. Like that's a pretty good deal. I'm gonna try it, but it was a back order item, and I didn't realize that when I ordered it. So I'm thinking, I'm probably not gonna get this, but we'll see. I ordered it like 5 days ago. I haven't heard anything yet. If a couple weeks ago I don't hear back, I'll probably message them like, "Am I getting this? Am I actually gonna get this?" And they'll probably like, "Nah," and then I'll get my money back. But who knows? That'll be my big Black Friday deal if I ever.
It'll be good. Free shipping as well makes it totally worthwhile. That price to me, it seems really, really good because that figure is beautiful. I mean, you can
that's a figure that's kind of not bargain binning, but it's like shelf warming because it's so expensive to ship. That's like, again, some figures are just too big for people to want to bother shipping to America. There's the Mega House Kaiba, like the Kaiba based on the movie with the blue eyes, white dragons kind of.
Oh yeah,
that is the coolest figure ever, and I really want it. But the shipping, here's the kicker, right? The shipping was 17,000 yen for EMS. If you bought it from AmiAmi in the early days of November, because they just updated their shipping to be like, oh yeah, we actually were supposed to update the prices back in June, but we never did. So now the shipping's 24,000. So it's just like, well, you can ship it by boat for $100. Like $100 for boat shipping? It's like, oh, come on, that figure's too nice to ship by boat. So it's just like, I don't know, man. It's already a 47,000 yen figure. And on top of that, they want 24,000 yen to ship it with like a reasonable, EMS that gets you a reasonable time. It's like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like, if that figure was bigger, I would.
Is that the one that's not scale? Is that the one that's really beautiful, but it's not a scale figure?
It's not scaled, I'm pretty sure. It's like 1/8 maybe. Like, I think the Kotobukiya Kaiba back in the day is bigger than it.
Yes.
But it is beautiful. I don't know.
It's
Mega House does that a lot. They just will not scale their figures to anything else. I don't know why they do that. Because there's like an industry standard of like 1/8, 1/7, 1/6. But Mega House is just like, non-scale. Whatever we like doing.
That's a really painful point. What would you say then? So if you had the choice of the kind of beautiful, beautiful figure and it's not scaled, do you even care about the scale? Does it even matter to you?
Not really. I don't know where it is in my room, but I have you heard of the manga called Dead Demons Destruction? It's got a really silly name. It's made by the author.
I've heard of it, but
it's made by the author who did Poon Poon. Oyasumi Poon Poon, sorry. Which is like one of the best manga ever. I love it. But they got a figure from Good Smile Company, but it's like non-scale and it's like it's not very big, and it's two characters on a mechanical robot. I forget it's been a while. I haven't finished it because it went on hiatus and then I never got back into it. Sure. But it's non-scale. It's pretty small. Both of the girls on it are pretty small. It scales with nothing in my collection. And it was around 18,000 yen back in 2019 or 18 when I bought it. So when I got it, it was in this like really tiny box. I'm like, also is the worst box I've ever seen. It's literally a gray cardboard box with like the title of the manga on it. It's like, come on, you couldn't have given me a nice box. It looked like the shipping box, right? Like sometimes when you buy a Mega House figure, you get like the shipping container box.
Yeah.
But then you open it and it's just the blister. It's like, wow, they didn't even try with this. But it's beautiful, like the shading and the glistening of the mechanical robot that it comes with, all the little details on the base because like there's little aliens on it and stuff like that. So yeah, that was like a figure where it's like, I'm gonna regret it if I don't buy this because I love that author, and I just don't see them ever bringing it back. But the funny thing is, it's actually getting an anime. It like randomly got an anime as soon as the manga ended. And people are like, maybe re-release, maybe. I don't know. I really don't know if they'll re-release it. I hope they do for other people. It's not like the most expensive thing on the aftermarket, but it absolutely did go up. But I don't know. It was a weird one because they don't really do stuff like that, Good Small Company. Like most of their stuff's in scale or Nendoroids, right?
True.
But they decided to make this little tiny diorama instead, and I was fine with that. But yeah, I mean, non-scale's fine. It does bother me when it's like I put this next to something else, and it's like the difference is so much. It's like, well, what are you gonna do? But it's whatever. Like at the end of the day, the pretty piece that is something that I like is the more important thing.
You like it if you like it, you like it absolutely, and that's the kind of thing that I struggled because I really wanted to buy that Kaiba figure with blue eyes. The only thing that stopped me from buying that figure was I'm a bit of a hoarder for making things not lonely. If I bought one Yu-Gi-Oh figure, I want a Winged Dragon of Ra, I want Slifer the Sky Dragon, I want Obelisk. I can't stop.
Yeah, I wish I bought those. I really do. I have Jaden and Chaz. I don't know their Japanese names, so I don't know if you know
Okay.
them from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
I
I
know
have
them,
them
yeah, I know
coming,
characters.
and I have Kaiba. I need to get a Yugi. I feel like I have to get a Yugi, even like the basic one from Kotobukiya that looks great.
Not Yami.
Oh right, whatever, Yami. Sorry, I just feel like I need the main character. Even like I have Kaiba,
Yeah.
but not Yami. So it's just like,
Yeah.
what am I doing? It's just like I don't think about that all the time. But Yu-Gi-Oh was like something that I really did grow up with. I played the card game,
Me
not
too,
like
man,
seriously,
me
but
too.
I played it. I watched the anime all the time. And if I'm gonna have Kaiba, Jaden, and Chaz, then how do I not have Yami? You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like I have everybody else but Yami. But yeah,
Save the best to last. Save the best to last.
yes. But honestly, that Chaz figure, I really like it for some reason. He comes with the little monsters, the
Yeah.
Ojamas. They're just like chilling on the bottom of the base and they look all goofy. Well, that was like a really great figure from Amakuni. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping somebody gets that figure, goes to like MFC and sells it just because it's too big or something, and they're like, the shipping's cheaper from me. So it's like maybe someone's regrets I'll pick up. I'm just kind of hoping somebody sells it here in America because the shipping's way too much. Like,
Can be.
I understand figure prices going up, but paying the price of a figure for
For shipping.
one figure shipping,
Painful.
it's just like it doesn't make sense. At some
can only
point, it's
imagine.
like
Yeah.
I could be making better financial decisions, even if it's within my own hobby. That
Yeah.
I don't need to be buying. Like they're just they're fun little things. You put them on the shelf. They're just decoration, right? But you got to be smart sometimes. You got to think about like realistically.
It's true.
You can't be
Yeah.
too silly about it. But I don't know.
Overall
It's one of
cost
those
is
like grails at this point.
No, it is one of those kind of pet peeves of the collection hobby in that it's hard to separate the fact that the overall cost and you're getting the figure, great, it's beautiful, it's what you really wanted. But when you do separate it, that amount for something intangible, which is shipping, transportation, getting it to your door, is a painful pill to swallow. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
envy you.
I mean, I'm starting to like really think about like where I buy these things from now. Like taking advantage of good small companies, 2,000 yen flat rate. That's like really important. Maybe buying from an American store if they have a deal on something. Got to think about that. Surface mail, gonna have to do it eventually. Like I don't like that idea, especially during the summer. Like I don't know how surface mail works, but the thought of shipping a figure in June and having it just sit on the sea in the hot days
Sweltering.
terrifies me. I'm gonna get it and it's gonna be like a puddle of melted plastic, or like her face is gonna be like half off or
Plasticizer.
something. It's like I don't think that would happen, but that's like something I've actually thought about. It's like it might not be good for the figure's condition if it's just like in the hot sun in this like giant iron dome of a shipping container. Some of them
Baking as
apparently
well.
are like air conditioned maybe, but like I don't know. I just it is the reality of like I will eventually have to do it, but it does suck when you make videos. You feel like if you buy something the day it comes out, you want to review it right away so
Yes.
that like more people, maybe look it up because that's when it's relevant.
That's
But,
the advantage I have, right? Straight to the door, into the video.
Right, but
Never had the time. Yeah.
yeah, I don't like I've done that a couple times, like with like not Stella, Luffy. I did that. Hokusai did that like right away. Just make the video so that as a smaller channel, like I feel like that's a good way to grow your channel is like review
Yeah.
something that's new if you can get it fast enough so
Hip
that
and hype.
when people look it up,
Yeah.
you're in the
There you go.
algorithm faster. But if you're shipping it by surface mail, that's not going to happen. So I don't know.
You'll be happy whenever it turns up.
Yeah, but the thing is, if your channel grows enough, people don't care. People will watch whatever you unbox, right? They just enjoy seeing your reaction to it. I just feel like it only matters in the very beginning when you're just trying to grab like anyone's attention. But I think whenever you get like a little bit of an audience and they just like you for your content, then you're fine. You just make whatever you want. when
Absolutely.
want
Like
it.
you for you, like you for your personality, for your delivery, and you got a very chill and casual delivery. For anyone who hasn't checked out before, look in the link below, description, ZUCCO's channel. He'll appreciate it for sure. Nice plug.
Appreciate it.
And no, as a thank you for your time, I know we mentioned the Fate series, so I've just grabbed two here. Random ones that we can see. I think this one's from Heaven's Feel. Let me know which one you like. So we've got the Heaven's Feel. I think this was
pretty
for the
nice.
actual advert for the promotional series of Heaven's Feel. So we've got nice Rin Tosaka. Obviously, no one likes good old Mato boy there.
Old man
But,
Jenkins.
we've got one
Very
here.
pretty. Yeah.
So that's option one. And option two, I think it's also from Fate. Heaven's Feel. Nice little romantic getaway opening the
That's
door.
pretty too.
Off they go to the.
You know what's funny? I don't really have a lot of wall scrolls. Not because I don't like them. I've just never really bought them. If like they were a bonus or something, I have them. But I don't know. I just never really was the biggest guy on that. But I gotta say that first one is very pretty. I just like the whole. It looks like a movie poster. You know what I'm saying?
It's
I don't know if that is for the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's for the movie, is it for the movie or is it for like the visual novel back in the day? Do you know?
I think
because it has more of the art style of the old school visual novel art.
I think this was promotional material for the visual novel, but I don't know if it was the official one for the release of it. I think it was during the duration of it. They decided to say, let's put all the characters together in a nice diorama, epic, and yeah, I recognize it from the early days, but I don't know when in the life cycle of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just curious if it was like centered on the movie because the movie was like super hyped, but it basically that question doesn't really matter. It looks sick regardless. So, I mean, if you don't have to send it to me.
No, this is the one for you. Yeah, are you happy with it?
If you want to,
sounds good to me. All right, my man, that one's coming your way as a thank you for spending your time, and also it's been a very thought-provoking one, right? There's so many things to think about, not only as a weeb figure collector and also a retro game collector as well, but as a YouTuber as well, and for purchasing decisions and the way that the anime industry is going. There's actually a lot of food for thought, isn't it? It's really growing. And
I hope people enjoyed this one. My ramblings weren't too annoying or anything. I do have my tangents and my ramblings and whatnot, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I was happy to be invited to this. Appreciate the opportunity. And it was fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, absolute blast, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll speak again very soon.
All right. See you later, man.
Cool. That was such a quality session, my buddy ZUCCO. We could totally weeb out. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Lots of Miyazaki Man Podcast coming up. I'd like to say big thank you, by the way, to all the patrons. Thanks to you guys, I finally managed to hire an editor, a guy called Gear Bear, quality lad. Time is just one of those things that I just don't have. Very sparse for me with 2 young kids, you know. Being a dad, moving to Japan, trying to settle here. And additionally, I tried my best with editing, but it's a bit mediocre. Try my best with the time that I got, so hopefully production value is stepping up very soon. I'll make sure to include a lot of B-roll. He's demanding the B-roll. Oh, special thanks to all the patrons as well. Oh, and if you haven't signed up already, £1 a month really does go a long way to help support the channel. I mean, we've reached some milestones already. It's absolutely amazing. I cannot believe it. 14 months going strong. But yep, we've got a lot more milestones to reach, and I'm really looking forward to ongoing making content for you guys to enjoy. So really appreciated hitting that like button, subscribing, watching the videos end to end. The Patreon financial incentive is obviously a huge motivating factor for me as well. So hopefully one day, you know, we can go big, we can take over the world, baby. Fingers crossed. Want to say special thanks out to Sophia P, Insufficient Yogurt, Master Yao, James Y, King Blue Diamond, Kobin, Trey, Suntan Superman, Mark CT, Don P, Alex M, Ash W, Mark B, Zygo Gaming, Tendai, Ultimate Sakura, Gaming Shelf, and Craig Coates. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. Until next time, Miyazaki Man, Ichiban.